Hello. So you may remember a couple of weeks back that we made this video formed entirely out of Skype video messages. Well, since posting that video, Skype came to us and they said, "Hey there, JacksGap." And we said, "Hey, Skype." And then they said, "How would you like to shoot and direct 3 documentaries for us, shot in 3 different countries around the world?" Directing documentaries is something that I've always wanted to do, and it's also something that I've always wanted to bring onto this channel. So we eagerly said yes please, and suddenly undertook the incredibly overwhelming task of directing, shooting, writing, editing, producing, and distributing 3 documentaries shot in 3 different countries around the world. The first thing we did was hire a researcher. Her name's Louise, and she has about 30 years more experience in documentaries than we do, and is also a complete and utter genius at research. Together we started to look for stories internationally of people who were using Skype in an interesting or unusual way. After literally months of paperwork and emails and back and forth, we finally found our 3 subjects. Hello. Hello there. Hey, how's it going? We talked at length and learned more about their stories and where they lived and their lifestyles, and even that part of the process was incredibly fascinating, just being sat in our bedroom but learning about a complete alternative lifestyle that we wouldn't otherwise have known about. We were very lucky to find 3 incredibly friendly and open and generally just lovely humans, and I think that made our job a lot easier. The next thing we had to do was find a production manager who could come on board and, well, manage the production. They would be in charge of flight times and shoot times and production schedules and edits and dates and money and equipment and delivery times, and so we hired a Lucy. Lucy is a fellow YouTuber, link in the box below, but also a far more organised person than I could ever be. The next thing we wanted to do was bring on someone who had a good knowledge of cameras and editing and footage logging, because when you're working on shoots like this, the most common thing to go wrong is something technical on the shoot. And so we hired Tim to work with us as a camera assistant and general assistant on set, and he was incredibly helpful. And lastly, we had a Finn, who would be the overall producer and creative director of the series, piecing together the whole vision, helping organise it, bringing everyone together, and also coming with us on the shoots to make sure everything went smoothly, which left me to focus on directing and shooting the actual documentaries, which is a slightly nerve-wracking thought as I've never had any technical training in that area, but I honestly believe in these situations that the best way to learn is just to throw yourself into it and do it and learn on the job, and we were very lucky that Skype gave us the opportunity to be able to do that. And so before we knew it, we'd assembled a team and the first shoot day was rapidly approaching. The day before we left, we laid out all of our gear to do a tech run through and also attempt to squeeze it into 3 relatively small bags. And then we were off to 3 different countries carrying an insane amount of luggage. It's 6 AM in the morning, we've just arrived in New York. We are leaving Nassau. We've arrived in Bimini. We're on a very small plane. Tim's not feeling very happy. The ability to walk into someone's life and capture who they are as a person and what they do for a living and the way they live their life in a short amount of days without intruding in their already existing life requires a certain skill which I felt I certainly had to hone during this trip. And I'm very grateful to be able to have had that experience because I feel like it's something I'll continue to use when making documentaries and films in the future. As I mentioned at the beginning, I think we were very, very lucky to have had 3 very friendly and lovely and open subjects who ultimately made our job very easy. And I was also very lucky to stand next to an incredible team of people who were very patient and happy to work longer hours, and also very aware of the fact that we were all learning throughout this process, and that made my job a lot easier and a lot more pleasant. We're currently editing the short documentaries together, and I'm incredibly excited to share them with you guys. They're certainly very different to anything we've ever made before, but I'm incredibly proud of them, and I know the team are very proud of them, and I genuinely think that you guys will like them. I would also like to say a huge thanks to Skype for giving us the opportunity to go out and do these and trusting us even though we were learning on the job. And also just enabling us to be able to make something cool and something that we're proud of. That is very cool of you, Skype, so thank you for that. If you're at all interested in any of the behind the scenes, like the equipment we used or the processes we took to make the documentaries, we're going to be putting some posts up on JacksGap.com, our website, along with some behind the scenes images, so make sure you go check that out. And that is it. That is everything. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.